Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the OTT Inc. webinar titled Migrating from Dynamics GP to NetSuite, What You Gain. Presenting today, Eric Sheehan here with OTT, along with my colleague, Ron Peterson. I'll be going through an overview of GP current status, what the future roadmap looks like, and then talking about NetSuite options, and then Ron will be presenting a brief demo on the NetSuite solution so you have an opportunity to see what that looks like. Our webinar is being recorded and it will be available on our website in just a couple of days. All lines are going to be muted during the presentation to eliminate any background noise. We should have time at the end where we can take a few questions. Please enter your questions in the question box in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. I will then repeat the question so everyone can hear it and then answer the question for everyone. On the last slide, as we wrap up, I will have my contact information up there, and you may reach out to me directly via phone or email, and I'll answer any additional questions that you may have. So our agenda today is we are going to look at the Dynamics GP current roadmap, go through some Dynamics GP announcements, talk about some factors to consider with a GP upgrade or a NetSuite implementation. What are the choices? And then what is NetSuite? We'll do an overview of the NetSuite application, followed up by a demo, and then wrap up with our Q&A. So with Microsoft Dynamics GP, this is the roadmap that they've had out for a few years now. And if we focus in on, the 2019-2020 there, the important thing to note is that there will be continued ongoing development with Dynamics GP. They're going to be focusing on what they call Intelligent Cloud Insights enhancements. Intelligent Cloud Insights is a tool that allows you to migrate some of your Dynamics GP data to the Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central Cloud platform. And we had a webinar on that topic back in March on the 24th, which is available on our website if you are interested to learn more about that. Then they will also continue to add top features requested by customers and the user community. New terminology or naming convention for the support and ongoing maintenance now. They're calling it the modern lifecycle policy. And what this includes are 3 updates per year. So there will be 1 feature release in each October. So last October 2019, they came out with GP 2018 R3. Towards the end of the year, in November, December, they come up with a year-end update for all your year-end processing and form change needs. And then in the middle of the year, June, July timeframe, they will come out with a mid-year tax update. And then there are 2 different types of support. There's mainstream support and long-term support. It's important to know the difference. If you're in mainstream support, they will continue to offer tax updates, service packs, hot fixes, things like that. If you're in long-term support, those things I just mentioned are not included, but you can still get application support for the system. So some key dates here on the mainstream support end dates. That has ended already for GP 2010 and 2013. GP 2015 ends at the end of this month. And then GP 2016, mainstream support will end in July of 2021, and then GP 2018 in January of 2023. Again, it's important to remember that not all support ends, just the mainstream support in which you can get tax updates, hot fixes, service packs. If you were in need of those things and you were on one of these versions where mainstream support was no longer available, then you would have to upgrade to a current version that is mainstream supported. Dynamics GP 2018 R3, that's the most current version that was released in October of 2019. That will have mainstream support for 5 years from its release date and extended life support for 10 years from release date. Microsoft, as I mentioned earlier, will continue to release new versions of Microsoft Dynamics GP on an annual basis in the October time frame. So what are options if you're on Dynamics GP today? You can simply renew your annual enhancement maintenance plan and stay in your current version of GP if you're in mainstream support and you need some of those things that are offered in mainstream support. You can upgrade to the most current version, which is Dynamics GP 2018 R3. You can upgrade to that version and try Intelligent Cloud Insights. Again, we covered that in detail on our March webinar that's available on our website. Or you can look to migrate to a Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central cloud solution. Or today's topic, what are the value adds of migrating to NetSuite? And if neither of these are a good fit for your organization, evaluate potential other ERP options. So movement to the cloud. Why are people considering moving to the cloud? Why are companies starting to make the move? And what are some of the benefits of the cloud? So here was a study done by PricewaterhouseCoopers where they said 86% of CEOs, consider digital technology their #1 priority. And then here you can just see some of the current statistics. Social media accounts, there's 2 billion active social media accounts, 3 billion active internet users. If we look at the smart devices back in 2018 when this data was available, 2.4 billion, and then 80 billion devices they expect to be connected to the Internet of Things by 2025 from the 11 billion that we are at today. So a significant increase in users of the cloud. Then at the bottom here, we're talking about within 10 years, they're projecting that we will see the number of devices connected to the internet jump from 4,800 today per minute to 152,000 per minute in the future. So at this point, if you are considering upgrading your Dynamics GP or evaluating movement to the cloud, some of the factors to consider where you have investment dollars at stake are what is the combined annual enhancement plan maintenance renewal for your on-premise solutions with Dynamics GP. So that would be your core Dynamics GP, and then any third-party independent software vendor solutions that you have integrated with GP. They all have enhancement plan contracts and dollars associated with those. So that's one factor. Your physical server. If you're running Dynamics GP on a server, whether it's it's a physical server or it's virtual in a physical environment, does that server require some sort of upgrade? Will your operating systems need to be upgraded to support the latest version of Dynamics GP? What type of professional services are going to be required for an upgrade? So those are all direct costs to evaluate. And then some other things that might not be readily apparent are, do you have a CRM solution separate from Dynamics GP and then have that integrated to Dynamics GP with an integration tool? Do you have e-commerce sites that are integrated with GP? And then all of your ISV solutions. When looking at a solution like NetSuite, those items I just mentioned are included within the NetSuite bundle, all in an integrated single database silo. And then what are your recurring annual non-cloud costs? So these are other costs that you may be aware of to manage on-premise solutions and other things related to that. What is all of your internal labor costs allocated to manage the above items? And then what do you have today for remote access and mobility software for allowing your people to be mobile, work remote, basically access from anytime, anywhere, and any device. So a lot of things to consider. Try and put a dollar value to those that will help you, make the best decision for your organization. So NetSuite, how did we as an organization get here? So OTT Inc., we evaluated numerous cloud-based ERP and CRM platforms looking to add a new solution to offer to our current customers and future customers. After a thorough evaluation, NetSuite rose to the top. It is the #1 based cloud ERP system in the world. It has deep functionality, massive scalability, across many different industries, which you'll see as we get into the NetSuite presentation. So as I mentioned, it is the world's #1 cloud-based ERP. It really scales from startup organizations to global enterprises. So whether you're small pre-revenue stage company, even maybe in the medical device industry, or you're a not-for-profit organization starting small and can grow, NetSuite will serve that market. As long as you could be a multi-billion-dollar well-established industry looking to move from an on-premise solution to the cloud, NetSuite will scale with that environment as well. So some statistics here. NetSuite was the first cloud company, currently over 5,500 employees globally, 40,000 plus organizations using the solution, over $1 billion annual revenue run rate. They have offices in 13 countries around the world, and it's now a global business unit of Oracle. So let's take a look at the different components of NetSuite here. So first, what is their philosophy? It was built for the cloud, and it was built to run business. That was the core founding principle of NetSuite. It is a suite cloud platform that allows for easy point-and-click customization. It is multi-tenant, and everyone is always running on the same release. So you don't have different versions out there at different points in time. Every NetSuite company is running on the current release. So that means no more upgrades to invest in. It's all included with the NetSuite subscription. So things that we can cover within the ERP suite is omnichannel commerce. So whether you're doing B2C or B2B, the functionality is within the system. You've got your core enterprise resource planning, core financials, service resource planning. So if you're a project-based or service-based organization, functionality built in for that. Supply chain management, CRM, and then HCM is human capital management. So if you think payroll and HR. OneWorld, this is the suite that you would use if you're in a multi-company environment, or you need multiple languages, multi-currency, multi-country tax compliance. Those are all included within the OneWorld application. And the industries served, you can see this is just a small list here. Software services, advanced material planning, not-for-profit, manufacturing, wholesale distribution, retail. And then within these industries, they actually have more in-depth offerings. So let's say that you're in retail and you're in apparel and clothing, or you're in jewelry distribution. They have pre-configured solutions for specific industries within each of these industries. So sub-industries, if you will. So it has all the required functionality to run a business. So if we look at the graphic on the left, you can see on the outer ring, that's the OneWorld where we have multi-currency, multi-country, multi-subsidiary, and multi-language. Within the core center, we have the human resources. The BFN is built for NetSuite. So you have the ability to build customizations or add-ons, and they become part of your NetSuite deployment. And much like in the Dynamics community where they have independent software vendors, NetSuite has similar vendors that have added value to the solution to fit specific niche requirements. And then professional services, supply chain, e-commerce, CRM, ERP, financials, and human resources, as we mentioned. So again, some of the functionality here, we talked about the industries there in the middle, where they talked about sub-verticals. Out of the box, you'll get many key performance indicators, dashboards. It is a roles-based system, so based on your user in the company, you can have a specific user interface for the role that you do in the company, along with the security that's necessary to maintain that role. Workflows and forms built directly into the software. You don't need a third party to build those or format those. And then integration capability. And then, as I mentioned earlier, based on the sub-verticals within an industry, NetSuite has spent thousands of hours pre-configuring what the key business requirements and deliverables are for those sub-verticals. This slide here will show more about the scalability. So if you started out and just needed, like core financial management, maybe some, inventory, order management and CRM, along with some business intelligence, you can just start with those components. And then let's say you're going to expand your business and you want to get a, B2B or B2C commerce site build up, start doing some assembly or manufacturing. You can easily grow into that, and then start doing some more supply chain automation, barcoding, which will grow into needs for warehouse management. Maybe you start servicing, some of your customers out in the field. So all of those things are just steps that you can take within the core NetSuite application without having to add any third-party tools or integrations to the system. So they're continually optimizing the solution through new innovation, new partners, and then they use leading industry practices and key performance indicators built upon those. Here's just a screenshot of some of the customers that are running their organizations on the NetSuite platform. So you can see some very large companies on here. You can see some not-for-profit organizations on here, and covering various industries as well. So if we look at the operational platform, some of the questions people have about the cloud is, how secure is my data? Is it compliant? How do I get access to it? So some information on that. We mentioned scalability already. Security-wise, it applies to industry and government standards for the top level security. Compliance with industry practices and government regulations. It's operational 24/7, 365 days a year. They have a software uptime guarantee of 99.5%. And then you have access to a pre-production sandbox so that you can do all your testing before go live and test new things as you are running on your main environment. And there's no version lock. Upgrades are done overnight. And as I mentioned earlier, everyone's always running on the most current version of the NetSuite application. So some of the development, different components here that you can do. So you have options to connect to other systems through what they call Suite Connect. You have programming that you can do with Suite scripts. It has Suite Talk for cloud app integration, built-in business intelligence with the Suite Analytics, and then you can customize the application to meet your specific need with Suite Builder, and then Suite Flow handles all your workflow needs. And then Suite Bundler if you need to distribute some of your cloud applications. And the capabilities, again, we mentioned it's a global solution. Mobile capability, so it can run on tablets, iPhones, Android phones, even runs on the iOS watches and Android watches. It's 100% browser independent. Create complex forms and reports through reporting. You can manage your digital assets, and it also has connections to social media. So if you have social tools through Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever it may be that your social platform is for your business, you can connect and integrate with that. So if we look at the user types, it provides the right tools for every single user within the system. So it has a consumer-based user interface, and each user can tailor what they see on a daily basis to meet their work style and the role within the organization. So here you just have some screenshots on a desktop monitor, a tablet, and a mobile phone. So if you're a business analyst, this allows you to configure business rules and integrate other applications with NetSuite. You can build out new screens, tables, fields that meet the specific needs of your business. If you're a developer and want to get into some scripting to add new functionality and new scripts, you see here that you have the ability to do that and maintain that within the environment. An administrator, they may be in charge of managing the NetSuite application for your organization. They're in charge of managing the different roles, security that goes along with those roles, and the management and rollout of any customizations that might be done within the system. And then the CIO, they are more concerned about risk and compliance, transparency, peace of mind, uptime. They have different roles within the application that it can be managed to the organization's need. And then the partners, of course, can help you manage the application and get it successfully deployed for your organization. Customizations, as they say here, it's not a dirty word. You get automatic upgrades. And as I mentioned, 100% of the customers are on the same release, much like Microsoft, 2 major upgrades per year, ongoing minor upgrades throughout the year. They give you a release preview environment so you can test the new features and functionality that are coming out in the new release. And then customizations are carried forward from release to release as you upgrade. So within the developer network, there's over 300 partners that have developed 300 suite apps. So this would be similar to the Microsoft Dynamics independent software vendor community. NetSuite has a similar community of developers that develop add-on solutions to fit specific needs within the application. So the platform, so if we start looking at some of the module areas, if you will, you can see that all inclusive within the NetSuite platform, you get CRM and marketing, project, if you're a project-based organization, order management, the e-commerce, inventory, engineering, manufacturing, professional services, shipping solutions built right in that will integrate with the common carriers throughout the world, billing and revenue recognition if you're a professional service, project-based organization, time and expense entry, purchasing. And then if we look at data analysis, you can schedule reports, you can have saved searches for things that you view on a recurring basis. It's got a gateway to business intelligence and real-time consolidation. So different roles, so whether you're the CEO, customer, vendor, merchandise provider, or consultant, there's a role for each of you within the application, and those roles can be tailored to meet specific needs. Industry layer here, finance, retail, not-for-profit services, we've covered these earlier, but you can see that there's a pretty good breadth of industry types that can be served here. And then some of the actionable data intelligence items that you can use that, again, are just built in directly to the application. Financials, here's some of the core financials that we talked about that are built directly into the system. We have the capability to scale globally if your business is going to expand in a global market. The functionality is built right in. The data is relevant, it's real time. There's no waiting for long running postings or batch processing. Everything is updated in real time. So some of the modules you can see here under financial features, if you're core finance and accounting where you need GL, AP, AR, some fixed assets, cash and payment management, that's covered. If you get into financial planning and budgeting, tools are available within the application. If you are a professional service or a subscription-based organization, under billing there, you've got subscription billing and advanced subscription functionality. Different types of financial reporting and revenue management. And then if you're a global organization dealing in multiple currencies, multiple companies, multiple languages, they have you covered with that as well. Some of the ERP or distribution and manufacturing features you can see here that are included. So like in order management, quote to order. I think Ron's going to show some of that in his demo today. Return management authorization, something that's just included with the software. Work order management, warehouse management with inbound and outbound logistics, barcoding. You can see a lot of functionality here. And then again, CRM, payroll, HR, and project management are all core pieces that are available within the NetSuite application. Here we talk about some of the Omnichannel that we talked about before. So you can have access to many different things. And if you have customer service managers that need to be connected to support customers real time, again, functionality that's built in the system. EDI for electronic data interchange, again, offering built directly into the system without a third-party solution. Just some of the statistics here for financials, 170 plus countries, the application's being used in, user interface in 20 different languages, taxes in 100 plus countries, currencies in 190 different countries, which are updated daily, 90 plus bank payment formats, and then countries that are dependent and territories transacted 200 plus. Here's the hierarchy of the NetSuite organization. So they have different regions that they support, and you can see the main countries and currencies on the lower portion of the slide. So at this point, we will switch things over to Ron and have him give an overview of the NetSuite application.
Okay, just unmuted myself. Can you hear me, Eric?
Yes, Ron, and I'll change the presenter over to you at this point. You should be good to go.
Okay. Let's see, can you see my screen?
Yes, we are good.
All right, great. Okay. All right, good morning. Thank you again, everybody, for attending. Again, my name is Ron Peterson, the Manufacturing Practice Manager here at OTT. We're going to take a little bit of a view here at NetSuite. It's a very big product, very broad, lots of features. So to say that we're going to just scratch the surface here is a considerable understatement. So as Eric had mentioned before, this is a cloud-based product that's accessed through a browser, and it's accessed from any browser on any device from anywhere. So this, you have access to the system wherever you need it. So as Eric again had alluded to and mentioned, where some products need additional modules purchased and then customized links to deliver a complete solution, NetSuite has all of them built in, which we'll take a look at. CRM, a full CRM system, integration to an eCommerce sites, website integrations, social media integrations, all kinds of good stuff. So it's kind of, as a first example, I guess, of that, would be this unified search bar here. In other products and other things that I've worked with, you can certainly do a search, find a window, find one piece of information that you're looking for. But for NetSuite here, it really just searches the entire product for something that you're looking for. So if I were to type in micro here, it's going to say, well, I see that there's contacts out there that mention micro. There are inventory items that are out there that I could drill back into, PDFs that have been attached to things, leads. Again, if I change this maybe to 1, 2, 3, you can even get deeper into the system. So we can see maybe journal entries that had comments, shipments, receipts. Again, I could drill back into any one of these things, fixed assets, pictures, again, attachments that are attached somewhere, and cases. So if you were running the service module in CRM, there was a case that was created. Apparently there was some damage to a product that we had delivered. So we could drill into any one of these things. So again, the product is role-based, and we'll kind of be going through a number of these roles. And it's really where many products have roles, and your user is associated to the role. With NetSuite, it's really all about the role, and everything that you do is configured to that role. What we're looking at here is a CFO role. There are many roles in here. We'll kind of go through a few different ones. You can see in here that the portlets, and these are portlets that are on the page, are specific to your role. So we can see some key performance indicators that a CFO may want to see here on the left-hand side. API meters, calendars. There's business trend analysis, KPIs. There's even something here called a subsidiary navigator, and this has multiple subsidiaries. You can manage sort of the roll-up of the things that you see. So if you have all of these subsidiaries in your system, they can be configured in a hierarchy. So if I only wanted to see, or people only needed to manage things in their hierarchy, I could choose one of them, and it would restrict the interaction in the view. So you could only see inventory, customers, vendors, financials in each one of these particular trees if I needed to. So we won't spend a whole lot of time on the CFO, but what I'm going to do now is just switch roles to procurement. Some more interesting things here. So again, along the top here are sort of the larger areas of places that I may want to go. So because I'm procurement, maybe I want to go into something receiving or inventory, and I can drill down. And though I'm looking at my main dashboard here, I could look at sub dashboards. So if I wanted to see a receiving dashboard, I could drill into the receiving overview, and it would show me a dashboard that was revolving around receiving. I could drill into specific things around that. I'm going to click home to go back home. I roll home. You can also see that there's a favorite, so I can add favorites here for quick navigation, and as well as recent records that I've gone to. So everything that I've opened up previously, I could quickly go back to. So a little bit more regarding the dashboard here. It's really designed for you to be able to interact with the system and do all of your day-to-day activities, as well as to be proactive about the things that matter right here from this dashboard. So we can get a quick look at a navigation portlet, which would allow me to navigate to the particular things that I need to do. Reminders of the actions that I need to take today. There's going to be receivings that I need to do, requisitions that I need to approve, purchase orders that I need to place based on requirements, KPIs regarding vendor performance, late POs, receipts, on-time shipping percentage, and then even things like an expedite list. So these are the things that I need to expedite that apparently aren't going to get here in time to support either production or sales or whatever it happens to be. Okay, so again, lots and lots of information here. While we're talking about procurement here, one of the things that I like to point out, which is sort of important in my side of the world here, is the demand plans. So if we look at demand planning for example, the system has the ability to really manage all of the demand and the supply of all of the items. So it's very important if you're managing inventory to be able to have the right quantities and at the right time. So you can set up different demand plans for different groups of items, for example. And you can see here some of them are managed by a manual sales forecast. Some of them are calculated versus different algorithms, moving average, linear average, lots of other ones to choose from. So that's going to create demand requirements going forward. And you, of course, then manage the supply, bringing those in based on that demand for all different items as well. So you can create a supply plan that these are the items that I need to purchase and when I need to purchase them, and these are also the items that I need to make and purchase items to support the production of the items. All right, so I'm also going to now switch over to another role here, sales. And we can see here the dashboard has changed. And one of the things that I'm being a salesperson here and in the sales role, one of the things that I want to do is interact with my calendar. So I don't see that on here. So I'm just going to quickly, add my calendar. So if I just click on here, here's my day-to-day calendar of things that I need to do. You could certainly just move these guys around if you need to, and they can go into any of the slots. Now I can interact with it. I can add an event. I can add a call that I need to make. I can add tasks, and that's going to be updated and then shown on my list of things to do and reminders. All right, so we've looked at a lot of portlets and KPIs and all these key performance indicators and how we can how the system is allowing us to interact, allowing us to be proactive. But let's just process some things in here for a little bit. So we can, in here in this navigation portlet, I'm in the sales side here, and I'm looking at sales rep navigation. So one of the things that I may want to do is add a lead. So if I click on new lead, it brings me up to the lead page. Now it opens up with something called a primary lead form, but depending on the lead or the situation, there may be different forms that load to capture different information. We don't need a generic form to capture information. We can capture one that's capturing specific things. And you'll see this form for just about everywhere where you capture information: purchase orders, sales orders, items. Very flexible. So of course we need a company name, something like that. And again, which subsidiary does this belong to? So new status, there's information for phone, address, email. Now down here is just more information regarding this lead. So there's a contact. So it could be, oops, Jack Peterson, and phone, email information. So we can also then come in to the address, primary address, put something in here, put 555, and then a zip code. There's something quick in here, and we said okay. Okay, so now we have our lead. We could also attach opportunities in here that we may have. Marketing. So again, since it's integrated with a full-blown CRM solution, there's automated marketing that can happen. They can opt in or out of the different media that you have. Information about company profile, and any of the communication that you've ever had will also be listed here. So you can go back and see phone calls and emails and those types of things. So we're going to save this. Whoops. Okay, and what we're going to do now is we're going to prepare a quote. So they had, we had put a lead in, now we're going to put in a quote. So we can look up Brewing, it's out there, and again, we have the primary quote form. That's just the default one for this particular customer or this particular lead. And forecasting information. And then of course, here's the form for entering things like the items. So what are they interested in? Well, they're interested in, I'm going to click on add multiple. They're interested in an accelerometer, power supply, and maybe the assembly guide, something like that, and one of each of those. And we're done. Okay, so now we have, well, now we have, though we're putting a quote here, it is checking inventory. Okay, so we have the, saying that we had a problem if we wanted to ship this out, it wasn't available. So here's the quote for the items. We can accept the price, or we can say, well, you know, we were to give them a 10% discount. And this one will just allow us to put in a price if we wanted to directly. So we're going to do that. So this one has a discount, and these are just custom pricing. Now, if I save this, it's saving. Whoops. Okay, so there is the quote that automatically printed out that we could have emailed, that we could print and mail or send it an email, whatever we need to do. Okay. So, whoops. Close this. Close this. Okay. Back up here. Okay. So if we go back to the quote, here's the quote that we had created, and it's in an open status. So at this point, we have some options. You'll notice that in the lead and also in the quote here, there is something called actions. So we can create a new one, we can copy this, we can email it again, we can show some activities with it, or we can create a new activity. So if we wanted to follow up with this lead and ask them about, you know, whether they want to make a decision in a week or so, we could create a phone call. And this will then go out to the CR module and allow us to create a phone call record and put it on our calendar, and we'll be there waiting for us to make that phone call whatever date we choose. All right, so now the customer wanted to go forward with this. We could just do a cash sale, or we could create an invoice, or we could also just create a sales order right from here as well if we wanted to. So if we click sales order, it's going to process. And we have already, and again, it's telling us that we don't have product for one of those items. And now we have a sales order, which we can manage. So from here, we could fulfill this order. The sales role does not allow us to fulfill this. So what I would need to do to fulfill this was to change to the warehouse manager. Here's my warehouse manager role, and I could go into fulfill orders. So you could fulfill directly from the sales order if you need to, or if you're in the warehouse, it's probably more handy to do mass fulfillment. So we could fulfill all orders that are required to go out, or we could filter them by whatever we need to, by subsidiary or by date or by zip code or by how it's going out, UPS, FedEx. We can choose to fulfill specific orders or bulk fulfill. And if you're working with a fulfillment agency, for example, you can import their records directly so that it reflects it into the system here. So at this point, we won't belabor the situation and go on and show specific fulfillments and paying, but I think I'll wrap it up right here. There may be some questions we can take. So I'll turn it back over to you, Eric.
Thank you, Ron. Okay, at this time, if you do have any questions in your GoToMeeting webinar control panel, either on the right side of your screen or top of your screen, there is a questions tab. If you do have any questions, you can ask a question there. I will repeat the question and then we will answer the question for you. Otherwise, you can also reach out to me individually with my contact information here, and I will be certain to get back to you in a timely manner. Question from a listener here is, how many clients have we migrated from Dynamics GP to NetSuite? We're fairly new at this. We are a certified NetSuite partner. We are trained. We've implemented one customer so far. They did not come off of GP. They were a startup company coming off of QuickBooks. We successfully implemented them on NetSuite in a little over a month's time frame, and they are live and using the application. To add on to that question, internally, we are also deploying NetSuite in our organization to run our business and interact and help support our customers. Okay, at this time, it does not appear that there are any more questions coming in. So I want to thank you this morning for your investment and time to learn more about the future of Dynamics GP and what it would look like to migrate to the NetSuite platform. Again, contact information on the screen. We are here available to answer all your questions and help you as needed. Thank you for your time and have a great rest of the day.